In this video, we're going to look at how to remove unwanted parts of an image and replace it with area around it. We're going to look at two tools. We're going to look at the clone stamp tool and the healing brush tool. We'll start with this image of a mountain with the M on the side of it. We want to remove that M. And we'll start with using the clone stamp tool to do so. The clone stamp tool is, I don't know, about almost halfway down on the toolbar on the left-hand side. It looks like a stamp. I'm going to click on that. There's two steps to using the clone stamp tool. One is, the first step is you need to define what you want to paint over that area with. Sometimes, especially as we're getting familiar with Photoshop, we think, oh, we can just delete that area by using an eraser or selecting it and deleting it. But Photoshop doesn't know what goes in place of that. It would just, if we do it using an eraser tool or just selecting it and deleting it, it's going to replace it with the background color, which in this case will be white. That's not quite what we want. So instead of doing those methods, we're going to use a clone stamp tool. And the first thing I need to do is to define what I want to replace this M with. And what I want to replace it with is this grassy area around it. So I need to take a picture of that grassy area around it. I'm going to place my cursor over that grassy area somewhere around it, hold down my Alt key or Option key on the Mac, and my cursor changes into this little target icon. I'm just going to simply left click my mouse, and what that did, it took a picture of what was right underneath my cursor at that point. Now that's what's loaded in the brush or in the stamp of this tool. Now I'm going to go over to the M, and notice there's a little, it's kind of shady. I'm not pressing anything, I'm just dragging my mouse. It's kind of showing me what it's going to replace it with, showing me what was under that cursor when I took that picture. So I'm simply going to click and start dragging over the M. A couple of things are happening here. The M is disappearing. I don't know if you can see this in the video. There's a crosshair to the right of my cursor which shows me what it's painting with. So instead of the M, it's painting what's under my cursor, and I get the little grassy area. And that's the result. Very nice. If I want to expand this a bit, say I want to get rid of this tree down here, and usually I will take a sample or a picture of something close to the area that I want to remove so it looks more natural. So I'm going to take a picture of this area right here, hold down Alt, click, and drag it over the tree, and it's replacing with what was under that cursor, and now that tree's gone. I can do the same thing here, take a picture of this up here, Alt, click. Now I need to be careful, kind of watch where that cursor is. For example, if I take a picture, say to the left of these trees right here, let me zoom in a bit so you can see this. There are some trees there. If I take a picture right here, so I'm going to use a Alt click, take a picture of that right there. If I start getting rid of these trees, I'll start clicking and dragging. Notice the cursor? The cursor is going to paint whatever was on that originally, so pretty soon we're going to start seeing more trees show up. So it's actually repainting that mountainside over and over again. So I'm going to pay attention where that cursor is located. If I wanted to, say, get rid of this power line through here, click up here, click and drag through. Now notice that cursor is up to the top and slightly left of my cursor. It's hitting the sky already, so now I'm hitting the sky. So you want to pay attention to where that cursor is, because it's going to move with your mouse. Sometimes you'll have to do sampling or taking pictures quite a bit of the area around to prevent this from happening. I'm going to Control Z that out. So that's a quick introduction to the clone stamp tool. Another very similar tool is the healing brush. It does pretty much the same thing, except it remembers and recalls shades and lighting and reflection, those kinds of things in the area that you're painting over. In this area, there's not a whole lot of that kind of thing happening, so it doesn't matter if you use the healing brush or the clone stamp tool. Let's go to another example here. This one's probably a better one to use a clone stamp tool on, because we're going to get rid of some of these ridges here. But just to show you, I'm going to use the healing brush tool, which is this Band-Aid. There's another type of healing brush called the spot. That's great for removing, for example, if you have sprinklers sitting in a yard somewhere, so it's just a spot that you want to replace, you simply select the spot healing and click over the item that you want to repair, and it goes away. The healing brush tool acts very similar to the clone stamp tool. I'm going to go over here and take a picture of, say, this clean area where there is no crease, and then go over to my crease and just click and start painting. But what's not working real well here is because it's a healing stamp tool, it's recalling the shades and the textures happening around it, and I replaced it with some of these little spots here that were right up here, not quite what I wanted. So in this case, the clone stamp tool is probably a better option because I want it to be very, it's more of an extreme replacement and do exactly what I take a picture of versus remembering the original shades, etc. That worked well with the clone stamp. I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to take this picture up here. This is kind of a clean area here. And get rid of this little crease that was there so it's a little bit cleaner. Notice I'm getting that because if you notice my cursor is right over that. Take another picture here and get rid of this here. Okay. So that's the introduction to a clone stamp tool and the healing brush tool.